Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, and Dennis Dick is still, I don't know if he's under the weather or if his voice is gone or what, but he's going to be on the sidelines again today. I hope he can join us tomorrow, but call him a game time decision. In the meantime, we got some stuff to talk about today. Draghi is going out with a bang at the ECB. We'll talk about what he said, and he's going to be speaking soon. I would imagine Trump delaying some new China tariffs, so we'll talk about the ramifications of that. A couple of earnings on our radar: ORCL, Tailored Brands, Aurora Cannabis, a lot of ratings. And our guest today is a very good one of our favorites, Eric Krull. He is the founder of Krull Asset Management, co-author of the Life Cycle Trade. He's going to break down some of the upcoming IPOs that we're going to get in today, in the next few weeks here. So looking forward to that at 8:35. In the meantime, Joel, what's happening here overnight? We've got some action.
Yeah, Action Jackson. Very, very strong close yesterday and continued that on the open. And then our tweeter in chief, do you wanna reveal that tweet there that came out? What, about 7:20, 7:24?
Yeah, a little after 7:15. Because of China's birthday and at the request of the vice premier, Trump has decided to, in a gesture of goodwill, delay the increased tariffs on $200 billion worth of goods from October 1st to October 15th. This is what they wanted a few weeks ago that they didn't get.
So a little birthday gift,
I guess present? A birthday present.
That is so nice. Well, it wasn't nice if you were short, because we got an explosive pop off that, up to 30.20, 3 ticks shy of a number that I had, 30.20.75, July 31st high. So this is based in September, folks. Let me remind you that your front month contract, majority of your volume will be into December. I will do December numbers on Monday. So there's a target. And then, folks, look out. All-time high in the SPOOs, 30.29.50. That's definitely within the average daily range. All-time closing high up in that area, too. If we take out the pre-market low, which is just below the close, not seeing much until 29.93. Hope to get filled there last night, but no can do. You have crude. Man, crude has been extremely volatile here, down 63 cents. I don't know how you trade this thing, but it is just found resistance above 58. Sold off hard last 2 days and now continuing lower. Gold up a nice $16.30 at 15.19 and a half. Silver doing his thing too, up 24 cents at 18.41. Bitcoin futures hanging around unchanged here. The futures up $135 at 10,260.
All right, Joel, just me and you today and maybe tomorrow. Let's talk about this Draghi stuff. So Draghi, with his last meeting as head of the ECB, and he went out with a bang. Like I said, he left the benchmark interest rate unchanged, but he said with regards to QE, it will go on as long as needed. They're going to buy back 20 billion euros worth of debt a month starting November 1st. And so QE is back on the table.
QE for the world. The Dragster does that. I don't know how much of a surprise that is. The SPOOs dipped and then rallied off that. I don't think this is really
TLT rocket off.
Yeah, TLT up $1.74. And I did throw the bonds in there. The bonds, the 30-year bond, after selling off for a couple of days, that's trading up about a stick here, 169.21, 29.30 seconds here. So get a couple of days of declines in the bonds, which was good for the market, but rebounding today, but the market seems to be ignoring it. Also, Bank of America taking a little hit there, finally down 28 cents. So financials may not be your leaders today with the bonds up that much.
Right. TLT blast off, banks go down. That's
correlation.
That's what we talk about. And then yesterday seemed to have been at least a temporary end to rotation. I mean, tech did okay.
Mhm.
The tech did okay, actually, basically. So,
Shop rebounded yesterday. Roku rebounded yesterday. So everyone that wanted out, Shop is trading up today too. That almost gave you a double bottom to look at. So there's a great level in Shop. Your low from yesterday was 36.10. Your previous day low 35.09. A cool $16 off that. Roku. What did that do? That made a higher low. That rebounded here. So we'll just we won't go through all the numbers on the 50% retracements here, but that's what I'll be looking at to see if this is a rebound, just to go back to new all-time high, or a rebound, that's going to fall short and be part of a bigger decline.
while we're on the topic of tech, let's go to the big tech earnings report we had from last night, which is Oracle, who I didn't even realize was on the schedule. I thought they were today, but I guess I was wrong. Oracle reporting yesterday after the close, Q1 adjusted EPS 81 cents is in line with the estimate. Sales 9.21 versus a $9.29 billion estimate. So a slight sales miss. They also added $15 billion to their buyback plan. They gave some guidance as well. Q2 sales up 1 to 3%. And their adjusted EPS for the second quarter, 87 cents to 89 cents is a little bit light. And the CEO is taking a leave of absence for medical reasons.
You got a drop and a pop here. The drop took you down to 52.45, but we've recovered very, very nicely off that low. Still in the red, though, by 89 cents at 54, 55, 40. Let's go to the dailies. You had a good day yesterday. Let's see what happens. 55.40, you're still above the previous day's low. So keep an eye on that. After that, you lose another buck down to 54.14, so early levels. And resistance for now will be at that closing price yesterday of 56.29. Also, just eyeballing this, you had the run up after earnings to a new all-time high at 60.50. You came down. How low did you come down? But 60. Let's call it 10-point move. So right there, I mean, if you want to figure an exact 50% retracement here of this decline, use that as resistance. I believe you hit it yesterday. So that even reinforces that 56.29 high and perhaps another turn lower here for Oracle.
All right, let's move on to the biggest loser of the morning. It appears to be, at least on my filters, Tailored Brands is not looking good here. They had earnings yesterday, and it was not great. So I'll pull the chart up. I'll give you the numbers here. Q2 adjusted EPS, they beat on that number. They beat on the sales, but that doesn't matter. So I'm not going to read you those numbers. What really matters is their weak Q3 guidance and their suspension of their dividend. That is what matters.
And they closed the one by my house that I go to and get those really sharp $40 shirts that you can throw in the washer. I'm a little bummed about that. Big old run in this thing. Boy, oh boy. The dogs are barking no louder than Tailored Brands, Josie Banks, Men's Warehouse, whatever you want to call it. 421. They took it up over $7 yesterday. That's about a 4-point rally. So 3.5. What are you at? $1.50. That it's going to be in around the 50% area. You did trade lower. You did trade down to 458. You're a buck above that. I just think for this one, you're going to get a back and fill here. I don't think this is going to just whoosh straight down because I'm sure a lot of people got jammed in that major rally. Don't think this is going to rally back to unchanged or anything. But, if you didn't cover a short 4 days ago at $5, you were staring $7 in the face. Now back in the 5 handle. I'm looking for buyers ahead of the pre-market low.
Is this the same company where the CEO promises I'll look the way I look? He guarantees it.
Did they boot him?
Yeah, they did boot him, but this is that company, right?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy went on to found Generation Tux, an online tux rental company that I just used for the wedding I was in. So that guy knows the space well. But Men's Warehouse, I didn't know they were still around. Honestly,
I think they went all with the Josie Banks.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. But who wears suits nowadays? I mean, no one wears suits. I mean, I know they have
Well,
casual clothes.
we don't wear. People wear suits. We don't wear suits, but other people wear suits. I would
Oh
imagine.
yeah, O wears a suit, so
Yeah,
maybe we should
right,
get
right.
him.
Oh,
Yeah,
where's the suit?
yeah.
All right. The last of the earnings reports on my radar this morning is Aurora Cannabis. They're always out at like 8 or 9 p.m. They were out at like 5 p.m. yesterday, so thanks to them for getting out a couple hours earlier. Let me see what their numbers were here. The Q4 sales just under $99 million versus $65 million a year ago. Their adjusted EBITDA loss $11.7 million versus a loss of $36 million last quarter, excuse me. And they're selling more cannabis as you would expect. So sales going up, losses going down.
Spike low after the earnings report. That took you down to 573. Area of interest for me here because I see three lows between more than that. I say 550 to 580. That looks like the support area for me. Just above it. I'm going to go with the same scenario as the tailored brands here. Maybe people a little caught, jammed on some of the shorts, bringing it in down 86 cents. But if we get over $6, just realize 617 was yesterday's low. That would fill the gap. But quite a few lows here in the 550, 580 area.
All right, that's it for the earnings. We'll move on. If there's any other stock, I know I said this yesterday, but today I really mean it. If there's anything you want us to get to, drop your ticker in the chat. We will get to it today. There's not a ton in the way of individual news on our radar, so drop your tickers in, and we will definitely have time to discuss them later on in the show. Just a few more headlines I want to get to between now and then. Krull Icon and Hertz. Hertz popped on the news that Icon has increased his stake to 30.1%.
He has been quiet lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, more so than the past few years.
I'll tell you, a lot of these pops have been fading on this. That's all I can say is that this stock has just been in a world of hurt since it did that reorg in 16. Straight down since then. I never understood that reorg. How they came up with that higher price. But Carl's at it again, and you did get a pop. We'll see if that pop continues. 15 and a quarter was your pre-market high. I see one spike over that area. This was back at 1562. So if in fact you could take out that 15 and a quarter level, I keep an eye on 1562 as another resistance area. Just overall though, he just hasn't been moving stocks like the way he used to.
I'm trying to find when he first disclosed his. He's been in Hertz since 2014, November 2014, and then since then he's gone back and forth. He's increased his stake. He's lowered his stake. Let me see here. So most recently, in March of this year, he lowered his stake from 35% to 28%. That was March 5th of this year. Just if you're following like kind of along the way. So he lowered his stake in March, is raising it a little bit now. Prior to March, he had, let me see, when did he last increase his stake? He increased his stake in 2016 from 35 to 35%. So he's really in this 28%, 35% ownership range for the past few years.
What does he like about it?
I don't know, but like you said, most of these moves have been faded.
Yeah, most of these moves have been faded, and I'm just not sure where he's going with this. What his premise is, but maybe. You still have Carl's number, Brent? Yeah, give him a call. See if we can get him on.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely not as active as he used to be on the media front, on the activist front. But
we're getting a lot of tickers here.
All right, good. We will get to them. I just have one more thing, and then we'll get to the tickers. Groupon and Yelp, the Journal, reporting that Groupon could put a bid in for Yelp. I'm sure there are synergies that they see, but this seemed out of the blue to me.
Groupon, boy, we haven't talked about that stock in a long time. That's trading up a smart nickel here at 306. Nice. Oh, boy, just look at the dog. The dogs are barking, and this one was barking too. Nice rally. We were in the lower two handle just back at the end of August. Yesterday's highs, well, I'll keep an eye on. That's 306. That's where you're trading now. So holds $3. This looks halfway decent if you like to trade lower price stocks. Yelp getting a little bit of a boost off here. Got crushed. I believe that was after its earnings. Yelp getting a boost. 35.36, up 76 cents or 2%. Just see one daily high to keep an eye on here. And you want to see this thing at 36.57 in a heartbeat, or just maybe another fade of the move. That 36.57 was the high on the day after earnings got hit, or the day of earnings had a 36.77 close to. Ended that day at 34.94. So that's big area there. Up a 36 handle. Good resistance in Yelp.
All right, let's get to some tickers in the chat. I'll start with iRobot.
iRobot showing some life here. Showed some life yesterday. Nice rounding bottom with a Head and Shoulders up 40 cents at 66.30. I like it. I like that low to lean on too at 58.90. Good. You're quite a ways away from it now. This chart looks halfway decent. If I'm looking for resistance, let's see. First of all, you want to follow through yesterday's high at 66.58. And then a couple daily highs in mind here, 67.33 and then 69.01. But Head and Shoulders, possible Head and Shoulders, a little left shoulder here, a little right shoulder here. So iRobot, 2-for-1 stock split since it's hit, in March, it hit 132.88. More than half rebound, not being short this one. That iRobot chart looks good.
Capri Holdings, Mr. Maps. I don't remember who on our show mentioned that. Maybe it was
Capri Holdings.
Yeah, was it Craver, CPRI? Do you remember who mentioned? I don't remember who mentioned on our show, but I'll pull up that chart here. It may have been Ryan Craver who mentioned it.
Spinner will remember. He writes down what everyone says, good and bad. So
okay,
he'll have it. He'll have it. Is there news on it, or
no,
just
from the chat?
I mean, a spirited rally here, a huge rally. What do I say about this one? Big day yesterday. What do we got? Let's get $33 would be my next target. I don't see much. Only one high to contend with in the 32 handle. So that could be a target for today. 32.37, August 9th high. Above that, double top, that's my big target for today. If you get up to 33 even, spotted a pair of highs, 32.90, 33.10. So maybe someone targeting that whole $33 area to exit a big piece, but keep an eye on that. And on the downside here, if you are waiting for a pullback here, you've had a 7-point move off the low, 3.5, 28, 29, maybe support, but that's a ways away.
I'm really surprised at this Boeing chart. I'm surprised Boeing has held up the way it has. The
Spinner said it was the same guy that liked Macy's. Who was it that liked Macy's?
I don't remember.
Have we ever had anybody on the show that likes Macy's?
Maybe one guy. I don't know. Okay. But Boeing, the 737 MAX is getting delayed till infinity. Woo! And they've got trade war risk. There's no end in sight to this delay. We don't know when the planes get back in the air. They've got sales. I know they're still getting orders coming in. They have a backlog they have to fill. But I mean, it's not looking good for the 737 MAX here, and the stock is held up.
Man, look at this rally from 320 to 382.
Yeah,
traded 384. What a rocket ship. What are we going to do here? We're going to look, come this far. I mean, $400. I mean, could that be a potential area? It's getting into the gap. All right. Since you had that bad day, that gap down day, I would just go look at your daily highs across the board. And we did sneak over 400 once. I thought, let me see on that day. Did we ever get back to 400? When was that actual, that plane crash?
The original, the gap down day, I believe,
right
was
$398.66.
Like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I should be. I'm gonna blow this up bigger here. That should be pretty easy. Okay. This looks a little bit better. On that gap down day, 402.67. I mean, we've gone this far. I know that's 17, 18 bucks away, but 402.67. Then you got a gap to fill up to 415.50. The second highest high has been 398.66. So 400 looks like a big level. And also going on to dailies here. I'd keep an eye right here. This 384, 385 area.
From when?
Right
where we're at?
April. Yeah.
From April.
Yeah. And we hit 385 a couple times and then just swooned off it. So this area, boy, what a percentage move here for this stock. I can't even figure that out. 320 to 60. What's 60 divided by 320? That's a big old move. I keep an eye on 385. Hard not to ring the register if it gets up there and holds up.
And I saw some comments circulating yesterday from a Morgan Stanley conference that an executive had said they're making solid progress on the software updates.
Yep.
If you're going to trade off that, I mean, I've seen that headline 100 times, right? So
Ron Bird came up with it. It was Ivan.
It was Ivan?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Good call, Ivan.
On the
Macy's and the Capri
on the Capri
Holdings.
Holdings, right?
Yeah.
Not on Boeing.
Yep.
No,
I think he was bullish Boeing too.
Was he?
He's bullish He's pretty bullish.
He's a pretty bullish guy. All right, Boeing here. That chart I haven't looked at in quite a while, so surprised.
Wow.
Thanks for bringing that up. Ticker Vault. Let's go to. Well, we looked at Shopify already. What about Workday and Beyond Meat here?
Okay. Workday. Have not taken a look at.
Me neither.
Hanging out. Ooh, this looks a little bit juicy here. For you bulls out there, and you got is that a quad top? Wow, 178. Look at all those highs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gets above 178. I mean, you got room to 178. You get above 178. This thing's got a lot of room to run. On the downside here, showing a little bit of life today, up $1.34. For you swing traders out there, I think if you're purchasing it here, you gotta give it to the double bottom that you had 2 and 3 day lows, 166 and 166.57. Ways away from that now, but the big levels there. I like the way this stock is shaping up technically. Holds at 166, going north. Clears 178, going even farther north.
And then Beyond Meat.
The
greatest IPO in the history of IPOs.
It's hanging here. It got hit with the other stocks. Smaller daily ranges. People are this is really quieting down. I know they got the nice boost off that JP Morgan upgrade. I think it faded. I think you just got to keep an eye on what's the low from yesterday. Low from yesterday, 147. I look at that as support, but just this whole 150 area. I know you breached it a couple days when these other stocks are getting hit, but you let's stay above 150 here. You're looking pretty good. Quiet ranges. If you're looking for targets on the upside, if you're long, you're going to challenge your September 9th high at 53.93. So that could come into play today. After that, things open up. 57.63 was your September 6th high.
I would love to see or find out if that's at all possible, what kind of institutional ownership there is versus retail ownership of this one. Because I would imagine it's mostly retail based on that ridiculous
Robinhood. Everyone in Robinhood.
Everyone. Yeah. Hey, you may not be wrong. That's a good theory. All these free trading apps make it so easy, so it wouldn't be surprising. And so the IPO was when? The IPO was in May. So the lockup is 6 months, I believe, right? From the IPO. All right. So we're coming up on the Beyond Meat lockup in a couple months here. So that'll be interesting to see when that expires and all these insiders get to sell their shares.
And where was that offering go off at? Was that at 160?
Oh yeah,
160.
Let me go back in the trusty Benzinga Pro. Oh gosh, yeah, I think it was somewhere around there.
Okay. Those are good levels to keep an eye on a little bit longer term. I know it got consumed, but that's an area. Quiet Beyond Meat kind of lost its luster. We haven't talked about it much.
No, we haven't. Someone bringing up Rite Aid in the chat. I put up that chart, and wow, the dogs are barking.
And that did a reverse. Did it do a reverse split?
Not recently. No.
Oh, wow. Woo, woo, woo. Down 53 cents today. Is there any?
Who cares? It's doubled in the past few days.
Abner's boy must be happy. I know he likes to trade this one. We're traded down today. Is there news on it today?
No, not that I saw.
You're trading down.
Oh, they got an initiation at sell from Deutsche Bank, $5 price target. So that is the news today.
Helping out the shorts, Deutsche Bank. Trading right here at $9. And that's not even at yesterday's low. Yesterday's low is $8.57. So I look for that as a potential area of support. And then that's just a monster rally here. $5 tonight. Let's call it a doubler. Longer term, if you're looking to maybe wait for the 750 area in this thing to come in, it was there just a few days ago. So let's take out the low from yesterday, 857, and then things open up to 809, and then 750 marks that 50%.
Question about MTZ Mastech, a construction company. MTZ, yeah, it's a new issue for me.
All right, let's go to this.
But wow.
A new issue? It's not that new.
Well, I meant for me.
Oh, okay. Mastech Inc. This is a good looking chart.
Smaller float, 51 million shares. So
yeah. What do they do?
Construction.
This is it. You guys gave me a tough chart. I mean, it just made an all-time high. So I'll give you that. 65.57. That's your all-time high from yesterday. But I'm going to put a little more emphasis on 64.95. The reason for that being is that was your high on the 10th and your close were right there. So you want to see this thing back up in the 65 handle, clearing that 64.95. And then on the downside, I like to see it hold $63. I see 1, 2, 3 lows and the one at 63.03 up to 63.35. So there you go. Robin Steckel out there in Madison, Wisconsin, asking, what's a lockup? Spencer, you want to
the insiders, when a company IPOs, the insiders are not allowed to sell right off the bat. That would be almost unfair. So the insiders who have shares their shares are locked up for a period, typically I believe 3 to 6 months, and where they're not allowed to sell shares that they were given previously as an employee or an insider. That lockup expires. It basically says you are now allowed to sell your shares in the open market. It doesn't always do anything to the stock. Doesn't mean the stock can go higher or lower. It just means more people are now allowed to sell their shares. Can induce some selling pressure, but not always. It sort of depends. I would imagine with Beyond Meat, it would induce some selling pressure.
It creates a buzz. I mean, It really does. I can remember had Twitter's lockup period.
Yes.
They pounded that thing down and then came back. So there are ramifications. You just don't know if people are actually going to sell.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a tricky thing. So Robin, I hope that was a good explanation. She said, thank you.
Core CPI in line, nothing crazy. Spoo's doing anything?
Snooze.
Nope.
Little pop. Trying to find some areas here. It's the decent of September. So your volume's going to be split. I talked to you about during the rollover. You had some choppy action yesterday. Saw some huge size flying around yesterday. So we'll keep an eye mid-range. Really, the only other number I have for you this morning is 3,011 and a half. Let's call it 1150. That's mid-range on the day, but you've chopped and dropped and went above it quite a bit here. So not as relevant as that pre-market high or pre-market low. How about IQ?
How about IQ?
I got an upgrade, right?
Let me check. So there are so many ratings today. We'll get to the ratings later on the show. Yeah. Bernstein upgrade IQ to market perform today. So neutral. There are a ton of ratings and initiations today.
Well, I wish you would have asked about it yesterday because there was a double top at 2036 and 2030. This is back in July 10th and 11th. And you tested it. You went to 2032 and then some, pulled back, big old range on the day, 1990 up 58 cents. So you might get a replay at that 2030 area. That's would be my target on the upside for this. On the downside, you'll find support at the close. Your closing price from yesterday, 1932.
Let's get to a couple of the ratings before our guest today. And like I mentioned, there are.
Cat's on fire.
I don't know.
I tell you, they're sleeping in pre-market prep chat, but this Google chat is just on fire here with symbols. We're going to be here till like 11,
all right. Well,
11 o'clock today.
I just want to cover a couple upgrades, downgrades, etc. PayPal upgrade this morning from Canaccord to buy, price target $118.
I like this call here. Stock has had a prolonged sell-off, right? And you'd had a bottom in August. You thought it was the bottom, right? At 102.41. And then they undercut it the other day, went to 101.31. And then you came back up through it. So maybe for a swing trade here, if you're looking to pick a bottom here, give it a little bit more room, maybe under 100. And PayPal sold off since the last earnings report. If you're looking for potential target on the upside, just figure your 50% retracement. That would take you back up to the 110 area. 110.77 is actually your 3-day high.
What else did I see on my list here? I saw PayPal, AbbVie upgrade at UBS to buy, gave it a $79 price target. Let's look at ABBV.
They pounded that. Who'd they take over? Was it Allergan?
Yeah, it was Allergan. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. They pounded it after that. Had a little bit of a rebound rally, made a new low for the move, attempting to rally again up $1.28 at 70.77. It's just hanging up here. So there's really no one willing to knock it down as of yet. Going to your daily levels, 71.02. That could come into play today. That was your July 15th high. And then not much after that. The next daily high, if you clear it, get into the 71 handle, you might want to look for 72.40, July 11th high, 7-11 day.
I should have mentioned Canaccord, their upgrade of PayPal goes with a downgrade of Square to hold, and they gave it a $64 price target.
And it's trading up. Is that an odd lot? Let me see. Square. If it, no, there's some decent, is there other news on Square? Right?
Let me see if there's other
there's
volume
good
here.
volume here.
Oh, yeah.
For the pre-market trading, that's really good for Square. Well, Jeremy said he was looking for an undercut, right? And he was going to be bearish on it, and it did take it out back above again. The low from yesterday, 58.91. It was defended. It was 59.07 was your low a few days ago, went to 58.91. So this one's being tricky here. Traded up 70 cents after a downgrade. So 59, I don't know. This thing needs to get back, or I say get back over 60, settle back over 60, 60.55 has been your lowest close since the stock got whacked after earnings here. So Square, keep an eye on it. 59 has been the low of the move.
All right, I want to bring on today's guest, Eric Krull. He is not just the founder of Krull Asset Management or the co-author of The Lifecycle Trader, but he is our resident IPO expert. So Eric, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, doing great.
Well, Eric, we asked you to come on this morning because the IPO season is picking up a little bit. It seemed like it cooled off for a brief period there, but we've got a few new issues coming out in the next couple of days and weeks we want to get your thoughts on. Just before we get to some specific issues, thoughts generally on what we've seen from our IPOs this year.
Well, in general, the IPOs are acting about normal. And what that means is there's very few that are that have been good investments for retail investors. There's very few that are liquid enough that for me to even consider, or that most retail investors should consider. And most have not produced any gains. In fact, 2/3 have losses from the day one close, which is how we measure IPOs, because most retail investors don't get in at the open. And we know if we measure from the day one close, that's a price that anybody can get.
All right, I want to go to the first name here. Their IPO is actually today. Smile Direct Club. I couldn't believe it when I heard it, that a essentially what is a company that makes Invisalign, right? The little dentist, the braces type retainers.
Yes.
But here we are. So break down this IPO for us a little bit.
Okay. Well, there's two interesting things about it, in my opinion. One is they can have a direct competitor with Invisalign, and now they're looking at promoting a way to straighten your teeth without having to go to the dentist, where you can even do something at home. And I don't know how many people would trust that, but it's out there. It's a lower price, and they're a lower price product. They're looking to go as a direct listing, and they're looking at $23 a share and valuing their company at $8.9 billion. Now, the last direct listing of any substance was Slack, which just came out earlier this year. Their symbol is work, and they are down 34% from their direct listing price. So they obviously priced it too high, and I'm not sure what the pricing will do here in the marketplace, but they don't make any money. They have a lot of losses. They're looking at losses are increasing 74%. I'm sorry, revenues increasing 75% last year, and losses are going up about 50% at the run rate they're going this year. So we'll see what the public's appetite is for a company that doesn't make any money, that is trying to compete against someone who's already out there, whose stock has gone up a lot with Align, and where you're going to get braces pretty much many times without going to the dentist. You can go to CVS or Walgreens or do the impressions at home. I don't know how many people would trust that. So I don't know what the growth possibilities are for this company, but they don't make money now.
Explain what the added risks are from a direct listing versus a traditional IPO.
Well, if the direct listing, you don't have the roadshow, and you don't go out there and get some idea from mutual funds and other institutional investors about what price they're willing to pay. So they have to decide on their own. And yes, they do usually talk to an investment banking firm, but there's no real price discovery in the roadshow like they have with a traditional IPO. And so look what happened with Slack. They went down right away and haven't recovered yet. The only other one I remember that did it was Spotify, and they did go up for a while, but then they had a big correction, and it's trying to come back. But it's just not a lot of price discovery. It's non-traditional.
And so the biggest difference is they're not raising new capital. So there's no floor, right? There's no built-in demand.
Exactly. They're just selling existing shares, right, and raising capital by selling existing shares with no one out there to support the price.
Right.
Yeah.
So can mean some more volatility. No institutions out there supporting the price. That IPO is today, so we'll see what happens. Personally, I wouldn't have trusted this type of thing when I was getting braces, but to each their own. Let's move on here to the more interesting, the most interesting IPO that I can remember. WeWork,
right.
And
we'll talk about WeWork, and I'll try to smile to show you my teeth that were aligned with Invisalign.
Oh, okay.
But WeWork, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Right now, it's, from my understanding, it's pulled from the market. They had $3 billion in losses in the last 3 years. The biggest issue was this. Last time they were valued, when SoftBank invested, they were at $47 billion. And now they're finding with the roadshow that they may not be able to value this company over $15 billion. And SoftBank will then have to write down like $32 billion right off the bat. So they've asked that they pull the IPO or delay it for a while. And in the meantime, there's been a few Wall Street Journal reports about how this company has some aspects of like the way the Chinese run their companies, where the CEO has a sweet deal on loans. And he also had a sweet deal where he created a company to have a patent or a trademark rights for the word we. And then he leased it back to the company. And so he was getting payments from the company. I think it was $6 million almost, just to be paid for the use of the word we. Well, once the people in the roadshow found out about that, and the institutional investors, they said, that's no good. And so he had to give the money back. And he also owns the property that we were.
Right. That's what I was going to say. He owns the buildings, the real estate that WeWork buys.
Right. He set up a separate company, and it's so that looks like insider dealing, and so they have some concerns about that. And so regarding the loans and the rent paid, they've decided to pull the IPO until they get the corporate governance in control. And just yesterday, the chief communications officer left. So they have some issues. And right now, it looks like they pulled the IPO for now.
Oh, I didn't. I thought I read it was still it was still on, but
okay, maybe something's changed.
It's developing. We'll say it's a fluid situation. What I remember from their S1 is they created an entirely new metric, community adjusted EBITDA. I don't even really know what that means, but they invented a new financial metric to show that the losses are not as bad as they sound, and they sounded pretty bad.
Right, and when you have a guy like George Soros, who's in real estate, coming out and saying that he does not understand how they can be calling themselves. They tried to market themselves as a tech company and not just like a real estate company.
Right.
And talking about people who buy long-term leases and then try to rent short-term leases to fill up the space. He said he's never seen that work before. So we'll see.
We've had a lot of crazy tech startups. Some of them have gone public, and some have had new business models like Uber and Lyft. This one might be the craziest.
Yeah, and I think the analysts out there agree with you.
So if they do IPO and you're gonna buy it, good luck is all I can say. I don't know. This one is just really, really bizarre. There's a lot of really weird things surrounding it. So I would
we're a fan of waiting on IPOs, and some of the other slides I prepared show that and why.
Right. So I'm going to that right now, actually. So here's just a general overview of the 2019 IPOs. You said earlier about 2/3 have posted losses, and it just goes to show that with IPOs, it can pay to wait.
It certainly does. I mean, can you imagine if you knew the odds going in on any kind of an investment were 67% that would go down from the price you bought it at? How often would you invest, right? So we certainly believe, and this fits in with how other IPOs have acted in the past, that it just doesn't pay to buy right away. There are better times to buy, and you might as well wait.
And then when you say IPOs since 2017 are acting normal, what does that mean?
Okay. We did research for the book that went back to 1982 all the way through 2017. And we were able to produce a table that showed how quickly they gained 100% in either from day one, in either 4 weeks, 13 weeks, a year, or 2 years. And so then we went back from that time we had stopped doing the study from 2017 until now. And we look at those IPOs, and they're almost performing exactly the same. So you're looking at in the more recent IPOs from January 1 of 2017 until just a few days ago. In 4 weeks, only 1.1% of those IPOs have gained 100% in just 4 weeks. And at 13 weeks, 5.6%, which is very similar to what we showed in our data from before. And after 2 years, in fact, more recent IPOs are doing worse than what we found in the prior time periods. So very few gained that 100% or double in a very short time frame, and the ones from most recent history are acting the same as what we saw all the way back to 1982. So,
in spite of the Beyond Meat craziness and all these unicorns finally IPOing, when they do IPO, we are in line with previous years and decades.
Exactly. I think we're up on hype, but not necessarily in performance.
Up on hype and not performance. That's a good way of putting it. What about liquidity here? That's always something to pay attention to.
We are big believers in retail investors. You want to pile on into stocks that institutional investors are piling into. And so you need liquidity. And we measure it in dollars volume per day. You take the stock price times the share volume, and we look at $20 million a day of dollar volume minimum, and that's for non-average. And if you look at the 120 IPOs that have debuted this year, there's only 24 that meet that criteria right now. So very few of them in general meet that criterion. And then of those 24, only 9 have posted gains from day one. So you're looking at very few stocks are investable, maybe only 1/5. And then of those 1/5, you're looking at almost only 1/3 of those are actually at gains. So it's just a losing proposition. I mean, look at all the big ones this year that had hype and how much they're down. Levi Strauss, that had a lot of hype and it's down. Uber, a lot of hype, down 22% from day one close. Lyft, down 43% from day one close. So it's not necessarily the ones that get the press that are doing well. But then you look at the top, Beyond Meat, it's the best one. It's come down a lot from its high, but it's so far the best performance of the year. Zoom Video also down from its highs, and Pinterest down from its highs. But you're not looking at great gains even for beyond the top 2.
Well, why is $20 million in daily volume the threshold?
Well, first, you don't want to move the stock price when you invest, but also you want.
I'm not worried. I don't have that problem.
You also don't want institutional investors. I mean, you do want institutional investors in the stock because they're the ones who move the stock up in long-term uptrends. And if it's not trading more than $20 million a day, institutional investors can't get a piece. I mean, they don't buy just little pieces of companies. They buy big pieces. They want to get hundreds of thousands of shares or millions of dollars of shares. And if they can't get in, then they can't move the stock price and give you a nice long-term uptrend.
All right, here's a table you put together comparing IPOs from the past 3 years with said volume that have gained 100%. What is the takeaway from this chart here?
The takeaway is this. You look at all the ones that dominate the chart. They're from 2017 and 2018. It pays to wait. At first, those have had longer time to make the gains, but also only 2 stocks made the list from this year. And what that means is very few make it. It pays to wait. And most of the move is done not right away. Most of the move is done later. And I put Soliton on there. It doesn't even meet the $20 million per day threshold. It meets about $15 million a day, but I wanted to show more than one from this year. And Roku, which has done great, it came out in 2017 in September, almost 2 years ago already. And a few of the other ones there that you recognize. You can see that first, it takes a while to make the gain, so don't get too excited, don't jump in too fast. And secondly, you don't have to get the ones that that have all the hype. You just have to be patient.
And here is a visual representation of that, just that opening window where it can pay to wait. And as you showed on previous appearances on our show, this is true almost across the board when it comes to IPOs. That initial dip down, and you've named the various stages of an IPO's life, and so this is just a visual representation of what you were just saying. Joel, what do you want?
Are you dipping your toe in the water in any of these issues here? Lyft, Uber, I mean, you set up the scenarios, they've come down here. Are there any of them getting to attractive, valuations for you, or are you still on the wait and hold, see what it does?
Well, I didn't invest in some of these more recent ones right away. I did have a position in Roku, which I just got rid of a few days ago because it looked like maybe climactic top action. And also we were looking at, there was a rotation out of tech for a time there that looked pretty bad. I did buy puts on Beyond. After I saw what looked like very big climactic top action, I started playing puts on that one. Did not take a position in Uber or Lyft. I did have a position in CrowdStrike for a short time, and that didn't work out. It didn't lose very much, but there haven't been too many this year that I've taken a position in, other than I did try to play the put side of Beyond, and that's been working out.
Do you use the first day close as a technical indicator at all?
In a way, I do. I definitely use it for all my measurements, but it also ends up being a type of place where I think other investors look at, because you'll notice many times if it starts to undercut that there tends to be a little bit of a waterfall sell-off, whether it be right away or if, let's say, it gets some gains and then later on it starts to pull back. That the first day range tends to be a very important indicator. You'll see some support at the low end of the range of day one, and then if it breaks through, it's sometimes that just bottom falls out.
And do you sleep at all?
Yes, I do.
Okay, because we got this email from you at 2:25 a.m. So I just want to make sure you get at least a few hours of sleep in here. But
I have one more. I have a curveball for you, Eric. Have you looked at the Peloton IPO at all? I saw they filed yesterday.
I have not. I've read about it in the past. That is one on our list of ones to watch. I'm very curious about it. It's another one of those IPOs. I tend to classify some of them as fads. I don't know if Peloton will be one. It's a very expensive bike, and like a lot of companies, they want you to subscribe. And I don't know how many people will buy a Peloton and subscribe for a while and then start to hang laundry on it when they stop using it. It's a little bit like a health club membership where people join, they're very excited, and then eventually you have to keep the member because there tends to be a little bit of a burn rate of membership. So Peloton, I don't know. I'm sure there's very dedicated people who use it all the time, and I think most people will be like that. I don't know how much they'll be able to keep members and how much their profitability depends on memberships versus sales of the equipment.
Peloton, they actually filed in August, and they updated the filing on Tuesday. That's the so they are IPOing. They want to raise its proposed price is $26 to $29, and they're offering 40 million shares to raise $1.1 billion. So it's definitely a really cool product. I've never actually seen one in the wild, but people use it, and they're very, very passionate. It's one of these like culty type things. People who have it, they love it.
Yes,
I've heard it described as a content play, right? Because it's
and very motivating.
Right, it's about the content, it's about the subscription, like you said, but it is expensive, like you acknowledged. So,
and GoPro they try to position themselves as a content provider. So I don't know. There's so many people out there. You have all these different video services,
right.
And now Apple's a content provider. I don't know how much more content that's really good will be out there. I mean, from what I understand, with the trainers that are professional, they're very motivating and things like that. I just don't know how long somebody will be a subscriber.
All right, we're going to slap you with MVG tag and most valuable guest. I hope the other guests aren't listening here, but great work, Eric and Spencer. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I wanted to wrap anyway and tell Eric thanks for coming on, and we'll speak to you again later on in the year.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. Good to see you guys.
Have a good one, Eric. 8:53 here, Joel. Any action in the SPOOs or what?
No action here. I mean, we're up 7 3/4 handles, 7.5, 3,009.50. You got to think about that spike high in the S&Ps, 30.20. As I mentioned, that coincides with your July 31st high. On the downside, 0150. That's real close to your closing price of 3,002. So there's your support. There's your resistance. Mid-range, which is a number I like to use, but man, oh man, it's just bouncing around too much above and below it. Bank America, it's getting shellacked here. I was contemplating buying puts on that all day yesterday, but the market scared me. Down 41 cents. That's because of your bond market here and your TLT. The bonds are up over a point. 1 in 3/30 seconds is where your bonds are currently trading.
I wanted to look at Walmart here. I saw a headline that they're expanding their unlimited grocery delivery service nationwide. Costs $98 a year to receive all the groceries you want delivered to your home. They said they plan to reach more than half the country by the end of the year with this service.
Let's see here. 116.70 was your high from yesterday. You're trading 116.61. You've got right near there in the pre-market trading. So keep an eye on that. That's a target, 30 cents away. If you can clear that, get up into the 117 handle. 117.96 represents your all-time high in Walmart. That was made on September 5th. Your all-time closing high, if you want to just keep an eye on the close, let's see if we can improve on that all-time closing high of 116.33.
I cannot be the only person that likes to go grocery shopping. I know you do the delivery. You talked about that, but I like going to the store. I like buying my groceries. I cannot be the only person that does that. This doesn't seem appealing to me.
Well, you know why we why Lisa likes to do the delivery.
No, I don't know why.
Because like when I go grocery shopping,
Oh, you do it wrong.
We somehow end up with a lot of stuff that wasn't on the
Oh,
list.
well, but that's half of the fun.
Yeah. Yep.
That's half the fun. I know Brent pops in his headphones and goes around the store. I don't do that, but I like going to the store. I like buying groceries. I don't know. Maybe that makes me
What grocery
old
store do you
school.
go to?
I go to Meijer. Yeah, maybe that makes me old school. I don't know, but a delivery service that does not sound appealing. It's probably be better on my wallet, but doesn't sound appealing to me. I don't know.
Let's talk about the bandwagon effect here.
In ATVI?
Yeah.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah.
I knew you were going there.
Woo! Boy, oh boy. Analysts love all over the place here. They must have had some coffee or something together. Major support in this thing at the $54 area. So absolutely no downside on this until you breach at least 53.77. A couple other lows. Actually, triple bottom at 54.25. Another low at 54.41. We're rocketing here. We're up $1.69 at 56.90. And what do we got? That's clearing that 56.5 or 56.60 high. So, we're right there. We're right there right now. 56.60, folks. So if you wanted to sell it the other day at 56.60, the high on another upgrade, here's your shot at it. But if you go to a longer term chart here, I mean, this thing could just be going to the upside here after a big decline. Michael Pachter was, he liked that.
Yeah, he liked it. And then this morning, Nomura upgrading them to buy, raising their price target to $64. So that is now 1, 2, 3 analysts upgrading to buy in the last week.
Do you think the analysts listen to Benzinga's pre-market prep?
I don't know. I think they definitely watch each other. I'll tell you that. They watch the chart and they watch each other. So the analyst seems to have turned 3 upgrades, although Activision has mostly buy ratings now that I think about it. So I don't know, but definitely a bit of a bandwagon effect on ATVI here this morning. Any other upgrades on my radar? Not many. We covered PayPal. We covered AbbVie. We covered
IQ.
IQ was initiated. There are a ton of initiations this morning. Too many to cover.
Correct.
Let me just scroll through the pro here quickly. Nothing too crazy. Cigna, Deutsche Bank had a huge healthcare node. So Deutsche Bank initiating CVS, Anthem, and Cigna at a buy. Centene at a buy. Molina Healthcare at a buy, and Rite Aid at a sell from Deutsche Bank. Cardinal Health at a neutral, McKesson at a neutral. There is just so many.
How about the Great American Chocolate Bar, Hershey's?
Hershey, yeah, they called. Was that a downgrade today?
Yep.
I saw it briefly from Bernstein down to neutral.
Boom.
This one has been ripping.
It has.
Can't stop going up.
Yeah, well, it's taking a little haircut here. You got an area, let's see here, down 45 cents at 150.70. So what's going to come into play is the low of the decline at 150.01. But you know what? I won't get too fooled if it goes down there because I see a trio of lows. Let's call it 148.60. So, I mean, you are down. Stock has been in favor. It has declined, getting the downgrade. If you take out that 150.01, let's see what happens. Maybe get a bounce at 148.60.
And what else did I see as far as downgrades? Wells Fargo is downgrading both Deere and Caterpillar this morning to market perform.
Deere and Cat. Let's see here. Well, they've come up that Deere is just hanging in there, huh?
Trading range. Big one.
Wow. But look at that monthly here. That thing is just, oh man, how many times have we hit this area? 170. I mean, there's your resist. I mean, it's a higher price stock, but just go and look at your daily, your monthly highs there. That's a big area. And the Cat's getting up there too. I got an area I like in Cat though. 135. Look at that. 3 highs. 134.
On the monthly?
No, I'm going to daily.
Okay.
Daily on the Cat. 134, 65 to 90. Trio of highs, but it was a downgrade, right? So we got to look for downside and maybe hoping for yesterday's low, 129.47. So that's the area. Big rally up. I kind of like the call there. Stocks rallied. Maybe take some profits.
All right, that'll be it for us today. I want to thank our guest, Eric Krull. Thanks to all of you in both our chats on premarket.benzinga.com and youtube.com/PenzingaTV. You can rewind the show, by the way, even though it's live, you can just rewind it if you fall behind or whatever reason. So you can do that. Catch the full show.
Tesla. We got to do Tesla.
We got to do Tesla. Do they have news just now? I don't have it up on my screen.
Lombardo. Look at what Lombardo 141
Tesla.
did.
Okay, we got some. We'll do one more. Let me just finish wrapping up, and we'll do Tesla.
Okay.
Catch our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or rewatch our show on YouTube. Please remember, all the information from our show meant to be used as informational purposes only, not for investing advice. Email us premarket@benzinga.com. And now, Joel, Tesla. What do we got?
Spirited day yesterday. Really nice rally over the last couple sessions, trading up 50 cents here. Int 65 cent, 247.75. I'll first go to the range from yesterday. Yesterday's high, 248.17. I want to see follow through that level. And then you're just in a real tricky area because you got a gap to fill. And that's a big old gap. And you filled part of it, but 258.16. That's not too far away. That would fill the gap, but getting above 248.16 and holding that. Do we have any news on Tesla?
Well, there's always headlines. I saw they have a new Model S prototype which seats 7. I thought they already had a Model S, so I don't really know what that's about. Can I
just give you the eyeball test?
Yeah.
I see a lot more Teslas on the road.
You know what? Me too.
Yeah.
I saw one in Des Moines. I see them all over Michigan.
Right.
So yeah, I see at least one a week, I would say.
I see one a day.
One a day.
Yeah, but
Okay.
The area I live in, right? Everyone's driving Teslas
Sure.
or whatever. Joke. But no, I mean, serious. I've seen a lot of them. I'm like back to back. Like one's behind me and then one's making a turn. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get Raz's opinion on that. All right, Spencer, I kept you way over time.
Way over 3 minutes. Way over.
Paying you.
All right, we're gonna wrap up for the day. I hope Dennis is back with us tomorrow. Game time decision. But in the meantime, have a great rest of your day, folks, and we will see you, at least Joel and I, on Thursday. Have a good one.